Ladies and gentlemen, I feel real bad for Xbox today, but as a fan, I am so excited to get into this. This is one of the juiciest leaks we've seen in gaming history, and absolutely the biggest leak in Xbox history. I mean, oh my word. The mid-gen refresh leaked. The new controller leaked. Okay, Maddie, not a big deal. How about the next generation vision leaking? How about Phil Spencer wanting to buy Nintendo leaking? How about Xbox almost acquiring Warner Bros. Leaking? We have all of that to go over today in one of our first dedicated Xbox videos in a hot minute. I know we've been talking a lot about Starfield and Bethesda, which is an Xbox company, but we haven't really talked straight up about Xbox probably since the Square Enix partnership was announced. This is bar none one of the craziest leaks that's happened in gaming history, and it's such a big leak that I had to go with two videos between this one and then we did a whole conversation on all of the Bethesda games that leaked. So if you want more of that, that's already up here on the channel. You can check that out. But ladies and gentlemen, let's not delay any further. If you're new here and you're into Xbox news, conversation, information, all that stuff, you're in the right place. Consider subscribing. And now a quick word from today's sponsor. The following video is sponsored by BetterHelp. I've always been very open with my battles with anxiety here on this channel, and in 2017 I first started going to therapy to equip myself better to take this very daunting thing on, because when you first experience a thing like anxiety, you're just like, I don't know what this is. And a therapist really helped me get through all of that. So that's why I'm here to tell you about BetterHelp. BetterHelp is a platform that makes finding a therapist easier because it's online, and their mission is to make therapy more affordable and more accessible. Not only that, but it's remote, and by filling out questions, BetterHelp can match you to a professional therapist in as little as a few days. It's easy to sign up. Just head to betterhelp.com/MrMattyPlays. It does help the channel, but you also get 10% off your first month by clicking the link down in the description. And if you don't like your first therapist, you can switch at no additional cost. So again, check out betterhelp.com/MrMattyPlays, link down below. Shout out to BetterHelp for sponsoring today's video. Now, all these leaks have come from the Xbox versus FTC court case. What had pretty much happened here is Xbox submitted a bunch of documents to the FTC, and it's been said by the director of public affairs at the FTC that Xbox made the mistake and submitted all these files. They were not redacted, and here they all are for the public to now see. A massive, massive faux pas. And I know a lot of people were speculating, was it done out of spite? Did the FTC do this intentionally? Are they all mad that, Xbox is probably gonna close that Activision deal? It's crazy that this is some of the biggest news for Xbox, and yet the deal still hasn't closed. So there's still more gigantic Xbox news to come. But I want to begin with the big one, the next generation vision. Of course, as someone who runs Retro Rebound, you'll see why I have many thoughts on Xbox's vision here moving forward, where it's described as this: develop a next generation hybrid game platform capable of leveraging the combined power of the client and cloud to deliver deeper immersion and entirely new classes of game experiences. Optimized for real-time gameplay and creators, we will enable new levels of performance beyond the capabilities of the client hardware alone. And you can see here some of their investments they're making. They're focusing on next-gen ray tracing, dynamic global illumination. Xbox's future, if you couldn't already tell with what the Series X and S and cloud gaming, what that's all doing, and Xbox moving the Game Pass app to things like Samsung TV, you can see they're moving more and more in that cloud future, like all of Microsoft has. Now, what you'll notice here is a consistency in a word: platform. Platform, but they do mention at the end client hardware. So it's a mixture of an app, the cloud, and some hardware to create something new that's going to push gaming beyond boundaries we've never seen before, is their hope. You can even see it here in this little chart that they posted where they're breaking down what new innovations each generation of Xbox had brought to the table. And you can see the focus on digital, right? Digital media and game store for the 360. Then you have Xbox Game Pass with the Xbox One, then the Series X and S, Project X Cloud. And then here you see for the next generation in apparently 2028, cloud hybrid games and immersive game and app platform. This isn't the first time we've heard about this. Think about when the Hideo Kojima and Xbox partnership was announced. It was there that we saw Xbox was boning up on their cloud gaming division, and they were bringing Kojima in to make a cloud-focused game. We don't know how long it's going to take, if it's going to be punted to this next generation. That would be a kind of crazy thing to launch with. But make no mistake, Kojima's game is going to be the one that I think defines people's excitement for the cloud gaming hybrid thing that Xbox is seeing here. What they want is this sort of mix between cloud computing and the standard games experience, which is entirely new to us. And this isn't the first time, if the Xbox One was anything to go by, that Xbox is really going in on digital, as we're gonna see throughout all of these slides I'm going through today. And we'll see if there's any backlash. Nowadays, people are more accustomed to and open to the idea of a all digital library. Many gamers are all digital. Me, as someone who runs Retro Rebound, quite the opposite. Behind this camera are two massive shelves that rotate full of boxed video games. So for me, as a traditionalist, not crazy about it at all. But at the same time, I'm not going to sit here and argue against what could help make games better. And I'm definitely not going to lose my shit now when I really don't know entirely what I'm looking at. To me, it's about what I see on screen. Are we able to achieve something that previously was unthinkable? I am one who wants to hold on to our media. I don't like where we're going with subscription services where everything's on a digital shelf and it can expire and disappear, and that's it. That upsets me greatly. I think gaming has a big problem with preserving its history, and we don't remember our mistakes. We don't remember the things that are great. It's just on to the next, on to the next, on to the next. And I get it. It's costly to print out a box, to put maybe a manual in there. But I think all that is what made gaming special, and to leave that behind, I fight with that a lot. I know I'm a traditionalist. I know not everyone's like me. I know a lot of people can just avoid the stores and just not do game shopping. Me, maybe I'm nostalgic. Clearly with Retro Rebound, I am. This is a tough pill for me to swallow. Let's get a little bit more into this vision here. They talk about key technological enablers for this vision. They talk about a cohesive hybrid compute, cloud-to-edge architecture across silicon graphics and OS enabling ubiquitous play, AI and ML enablement, optimization and acceleration of game performance, operations, and development for players and creators, and a creator platform, open and extensible game and immersive app development platform. So again, lots and lots and lots of focus on platform. You can see here the big focus on powering the next generation with AI. They talk about super resolution deep neural network. They talk about latency compensation. They talk about matchmaking, player ranking, AI agents to help test the game. They talk about player services. They talk about procedural content generation. That was a big deal in Starfield. They talk about physics. This is where I think the AI is kicking in more and more for game development. We've heard about Ghostwriter, which was Ubisoft's initiative to have AI write games for them, like the random NPC dialogue. You're seeing that AI is starting to try to pick up the slack for things that are busy work, that eat away from the main meat of the game. And I worry about that too, just in general. This isn't just an Xbox problem, as I mentioned. Ubisoft's looking at it, many developers are looking at it. And I know sometimes ignorance is bliss, and I'm sure that as time goes on, there will be games I really like that are going to end up using AI, and I'm not going to know any better. But to me, I know games are a business, but I also view them as a labor of love. I know they're not easy to make as someone working on one, but you put all of your heart into it and translate this experience from creator to player that I think can only be there if there are human hands on every facet of the game. Because as someone's writing something, they're putting a piece of themselves in the game. As someone's drawing something, they're deriving it from maybe media they've seen or a piece of themselves they want to capture emotionally, and so on and so on. To me, when you start to inject tons of AI, I feel you lose that component. Even if it's like, let's say we're talking about a Ubisoft open world, it's the random chit chat that you hear. That type of stuff adds personality to the world. When you hear NPCs yelling out crazy stuff, out of pocket stuff, funny little encounters. When that stuff isn't handcrafted, it just puts a lot more pressure on the core experience to be highly personalized. So maybe I don't know what I'm talking about here, but I do fight with this vision a little bit for Xbox. I get where they're going, and it's not a surprise to me what they're doing here, but that doesn't mean I gotta love it. With that, we also get into the Xbox Series X refresh. A lot of people were calling, Phil, you lied on that one, but he talked about a more powerful console. This is a mid-gen refresh that is a all-digital Xbox Series X with more internal storage going up to 2 terabytes, faster Wi-Fi, reduced power usage, And I think more importantly is a more immersive controller as they define it. We'll get into that in a moment, but they're charging the same price, $500 for it. And this is to pretty much refresh with all the games coming out. Like, hey, the Xbox exists. I think this is, again, smart for them as a business. I fight with this all digital future Xbox is pushing towards, but when you look at, for example, regions they're growing in, like Japan, they're growing in, and that's because they're pushing digital there. Like the Series S, it's not a popping console there, but it's more popular than the Xbox Series X. And it's obvious, an all digital version, the more powerful version of an Xbox, then that just makes you, I think, better set to take over regions when you make games that appeal to them. Xbox is focusing on Japan more and more, so this, I think, sets them up in a pretty good spot moving forward. But also this controller is a massive deal here, because you'll see here on the bottom left, they talk about feeling the game, precision haptic feedback, VCA haptics double as speakers. So yes, that bottom half of the controller is a speaker. It has on the top right, rechargeable and swappable battery, something that people have been asking for a while. The controller wakes up when you lift it. You no longer have to hold the middle button to get that to happen, and so on and so forth. I'm actually very excited about this. I think the DualSense, if it's next to me, it's not. I think the DualSense is fantastic though. It has a lot of great features that I think improve the game experience. I think of Resident Evil 4 Remake as one, where I really love the feel of the trigger pulling and the fighting back. That's the adaptive triggers, but haptic feedback that's precise, doubling as speakers, can add something to the experience. And this is based off a survey that Xbox did years ago when we first started defining Duke. They were asking people, like, what do you think about the DualSense? Should Xbox do their own DualSense? And this seems like they're getting in that direction. And I'm happy to see, as PlayStation may take pages from Xbox's playbook, that Xbox is doing the same here. I love the Xbox controller, but I don't love buying batteries anymore. I really don't. But the main problem with going away from batteries is my PS4 controller, like many people by the end of its generation, was just dying every 2 seconds. And I just had the USB connected constantly. At least with battery swapping, my Xbox controller lasts for friggin' ever. I haven't changed the batteries out of this thing ever since I think I got it. I don't know, it's been in there for a hot minute. Like, Xbox controllers can go. So you can wirelessly game for a while. You can buy a big pack of batteries just for your Xbox and have it last probably years, quite frankly. And now when you swap out for a rechargeable battery, you get the more eco-friendly option, which I think is really important. I think they should have been supporting for a long while, but you're probably gonna get shorter battery life over time. It's the trade-off. But this is the new controller, and they break all of this down here in this next chart, and then follow it up with a launch timeline here, where it looks like Sabile, which is the controller, is launching by June of next year for $70, and it's going to be announced probably by the end of this year, with a mid-gen console being announced by the end of June or start of July. And it looks like the new Series S, Elwood, is launching around September, which I imagine you can plan for a big game coming out around then. Maybe they're timing out Starfield's DLC, Indiana Jones game, maybe Hellblade 2, Senua's Saga, or Avowed, and they're going to time it with that. I think that would make a lot of sense. And then a new Series X in Brooklyn is launching in November, October, in that area. So what this tells me is that there's going to be some big holiday games again for Xbox. With all they announced in 2023 during their big showcase, everything that's announced for the future, I think this makes sense that these may be timed out with Avowed and Hellblade. I just, wow. Talk about a crazy leak. And we're not done, right? That's all the hardware stuff. And I'm all for the mid-gen refresh. I think that's fine. I would have loved to see them put more power into the system. I know Xbox claims it's the world's most powerful console, but PlayStation's about to come out with one next year, apparently, that is more powerful. And when Xbox is getting out-dueled in certain instances, when the SKUs are being aligned, I find it kind of hard to believe that we need to ride this thing all the way until 2028, presumably. Maybe I'm wrong. We'll see. This last one is an email from Phil Spencer. Subject random thought. It's in 2020, and Phil is talking about Nintendo being the prime asset for them in gaming. Now, in this same email, he admits that they're talking to Warner Bros. Right now about an acquisition and ZeniMax. They say that Warner Bros. Is one that's a big obstacle because of IP ownership. They wouldn't own any of the IP, which would hurt their long-term flexibility. And their only obstacle in ZeniMax is value expectations of the founders. They did say they view ZeniMax as more core, less broad, not mobile, and more North American and European. I find that surprising given that you're getting Fallout and Elder Scrolls, which I don't think is less broad. Skyrim is one of the best-selling games of all time. So Xbox must have some wild ambitions, and I'm hoping that Activision answers this. But perhaps the craziest shit in all of this is this last paragraph. I love this discussion and value of you looking at the opportunities here. At some point, getting Nintendo would be a career moment, and I honestly believe a good move for both companies. It's just taking a long time for Nintendo to see that their future exists off their own hardware. A long time. Phil. Look, y'all, I'm not one of those people who's been like, Xbox is trying to get a monopoly. What the hell is this? Xbox, what the hell is this? Nintendo? Let Nintendo do their own goddamn thing. What are you doing? What? Nintendo? Didn't you learn your lesson like 20 years ago when you got laughed out the room? Come on now, really? Okay, I get like if they want to partner up, like, hey, let's bring Nintendo Switch Online to Game Pass. Let's get all those N64, SNES, NES, maybe Game Boy Advance games. Let's get it all on Xbox Game Pass. Or let's bring Xbox Game Pass to Switch. Let's do some type of partnership here. That I'm all for. Like, I love the idea of let's break down barriers. This? What the hell is this? You want to buy Nintendo? That would be your career moment? This would be a bad move for everyone, I feel, involved in gaming. Nintendo can march to the beat of their own drum. It's their biggest strength and weakness. They get to do cool shit whenever they want, and they get to make random games whenever they want, and also big budget ones whenever they want. And at times they make more shallow games than I think they should, like especially the Mario sports games. But that's what's great about them. Like, they're still focused on handheld gaming. I don't want them to really walk away from that because my best memories with Nintendo are with handheld. Like, my Game Boy Advance is one of the favorite systems of all time for me. So to see you go like, I think this would be a great move for both companies. Like, yeah, maybe their future exists as in let's get some of their games off Nintendo, but like they have a huge install base. And when you look at how many people, for example, bought Breath of the Wild with their Switch, like they have no problem selling games. So who are you trying to convince other than yourself this would be a great move for Nintendo? I don't like this. I'm gonna be real. I don't like this at all. I was a defender of Xbox. Like, look, they're trying to stay competitive. This, oh my God, dude. Come on now. Come on now. I know it was 2020. A lot has changed since then. I don't know if Phil still believes this, but if he does, look in the mirror, evaluate yourselves, and stop this type of shit. Focus on what it looks like they're doing now, making great games. Focus on Xbox Game Studios making great games, because all this looks like is someone who's got monopoly money, and they're like, fuck it, let's just buy this. That'd be cool, right? This would be great for everyone. This would be a career moment. Not good for gaming, in my opinion. Let Nintendo go be on their own, just like PlayStation should go be on their own. I like partnerships between all these companies. That's awesome. But this shit, hell no. Anyway, you can clearly tell how I feel because I started cursing. Ladies and gentlemen, those are just my thoughts on what's going on here with this massive Xbox leak. I'm looking forward to seeing your thoughts down below, so please do fire away. Other than that, take excellent care of yourselves, and I will see you in the next video. Be sure to follow me on Twitter, follow me on Instagram. Those links are in the description down below. And a big thank you to all the patrons, all the members who continue to support the heck out of the content here. Stay sexy, stay active. I love you all. Peace.